Hello everybody, it's Toyah here. Welcome to Toyah at Home. I hope your good selves and your loved ones are all doing reasonably well in this strange time. I'm kind of looking forward to the new normality, which I'm still optimistic we will see inklings of around May onwards. This week, Robert and I got a call from our wonderful surgery in town saying, get down here now if you would like the vaccines. So we've both had the Oxford vaccine. I'm very, very grateful. I think the NHS has been phenomenal. The speed with which they have done this has been incredible. And I'm sure because we live in quite a small town that Robert and I got our jabs quite quickly. I was very affected by mine. It kind of gave me flu, and I was filming after having the jab, and then I was in the studio working on Posh Pop, and within about 4 hours I just couldn't control my breathing, and then the next day I was in bed with flu. I'm okay now. I would definitely say to anyone out there with dyslexia, it's slightly heightened my dyslexic talents. My guitar playing has not been good in the past 2 days, but you know, I would rather have that jab and feel safe and know that the jab will allow us to get back to what we call normal. So I'm very, very grateful. And Posh Pop, well, we've got the 10 songs. We are there. We now need to just kind of titillate, tart up, and do all the kind of finishing tweaks. I've got a few BVs I need to do. There's about 3 tracks Robert needs to play on, and then Jeremy Stacey has 5 tracks to play on. So we should be delivering by the end of March, ready for July the 28th when Demon Records will be releasing Posh Pop, the album. I'm very excited. It's been a very precious and creative time. So, what's our first question today? And please send your questions in and keep them varied. I know that a lot of Toyah at Home is very much based on my career, but feel free to ask me about home life or even running a business from home. These are things that I feel I might be able to answer for you, and it's really nice when I get to do some research and see how I would approach one of your problems. Shane Ernst, you ask, when you come up with music, do you let it come naturally, or do you roll with it, or is it best for it to come together over time? I wanted to answer this one, and I think we might have touched on it at Agony Aunts, which is what Robert and I do on Saturday evening. I think it's really important when you're being creative in front of your equipment in your studio to allow the moment and the present time to exist. Sometimes we can overthink things and cancel out the wonderful potential of a creative moment. And also, I do believe that mistakes lead us to greater things. And what I mean by this is, with Posh Pop, Simon Darlow and myself have gone into the studio virtually every 2 days in the week during lockdown, and we've gone into the studio with very little prep. I think there's only one song that we prepped, and that was The Bride Will Return. And that came because I saw a news flash about something that happened in Lebanon, and I instantly went to the keyboard and wrote a verse of what was to become quite a mega song. But otherwise, Simon Darlow and I just go into the studio. Simon puts a guitar on, I take my guitar to the studio, we have the piano to work at, and we just see what happens. And the collaboration between both of us has been very, very special in this particular occasion, because there has been an endless amount to write about in this very strange past 12 months. And we have literally pieced together, sometimes word by word, chord by chord, line by line. We have literally pieced together songs in that moment, in that day. And they've been very special and very true to us. And bear in mind that Simon and I have been writing since Simon was 17 and I was 18. That's when we were first put together as a writing team. And we trust that we know what we're doing. We trust that there's a bedrock of creativity between the two of us there's that relationship between the two of us, that we can come up with something, and it's never let us down. And on this particular album, we've both come up with something that is completely new. It's part of our new maturity, and it's part of our past as well. And you will know this by the end of July this year. You'll know what we mean. We have created a completely new sound that somehow is the essence of our past, but very much in the present. So thank you for that. I want to point to this painting in the background. It's by Frankie Sanderson, and it's called Avatar. And for those of you listening on radio, it's a large painting of a woman in a crinoline surrounded by birds. Frankie's work, she is an American surrealist artist. She was married to Bill Rieflin, my co-writer in the band Toyah and the Humans. And Robert and I adore Frankie's work. She's sadly no longer with us. She left this world a year before Bill left this world, and we're coming up to Bill's first anniversary. But I just love her work, and in every room we have a piece of her work. She would paint while Bill, myself, and Chris Wong would be writing our albums in Seattle. And as our albums took form, we'd see Frankie's paintings take form at the same time. And what was wonderful, among the chaos of the three of us musicians writing, because we very much wrote our songs through improvisation, Frankie would just be sitting in her art studio in the house, just calmly painting away, the complete other end of the creative spectrum. She was so wonderful and so creative and completely unperturbed by her need to be creative. It never was pushing against her like a tidal wave, like a tide of insistence. It just traveled right through her. And I learnt so much about her creativity in this calmness, which I have never experienced. So I love this painting, and it's above our bed. And it leads us to our first track, which is Toyah and the Humans at the wonderful Trading Boundaries with the beautiful Bill Rieflin, Chris Wong, Igor and Jake. And enjoy this, please, because this is Get in Your Car and Drive. And I'll tell you about it after you've heard it. Enjoy. Thank you. Thank you. This next song was written in Seattle, and it's about our favorite pastime in America, which is just simply just getting in your car and driving. And it's called Get In Your Car.
Gotta learn all over
funny, spirited and funny, dressed in a wetsuit. What has she got to hide? Dissolve away, see you in the haze. We stole those days on the streets of New York, Junkie, Jibber Jabber Monkey. Get in your car and drive. Salmon, Sundry, Jittery and Spunky. Get in your car and drive. Gotta run, gotta hide, gotta get high, gotta try, gotta get dry, gotta learn all over again. Get in your car and drive. 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 Gotta run, gotta hide, gotta get high, gotta drive, gotta get dry, gotta learn all over again. Get in your car and drive. 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 Get in your car. Get in your car. Get in your car. Get drive. You gotta try. That was Get in Your Car and Drive, Toyah and the Humans at the wonderful venue Trading Boundaries, and we can't wait to be back there playing again. You've just seen the wonderful Bill Rieflin. Bill used to be the drummer in REM. He's worked with everyone. He was the bass player in Ministry, and in the Humans he was a bass player, a guitarist, a drummer, a singer. He was everything, and we worked with him on our 3 albums together in Seattle, and he was married to Frankie Sanderson, the surrealist artist. Both of them are not with us, but Bill left me with a series of gifts, and those were gifts of his creative time. In his last year with us, he was on the road with King Crimson, and in Vienna he got the whole of King Crimson to learn Get in Your Car and Drive, and he recorded them on stage before their show. So this is Toyah fans will know this has been going on for a long time. So at the moment, Toyah and the Humans versus King Crimson is being mixed, and as a kind of remix of the track Get in Your Car and Drive, and eventually we will have it out in the world. It might now be attached with a re-release of Kneeling at the Shrine, Sunday All Over the World, which is my band with Robert Fripp, because we all feel Posh Pop is incredibly strong and it stands alone. It doesn't really need any cover versions. We were going to do Slave to the Rhythm because I was the original singer on that song when it was demoed. But we're not going to do that. We are going to keep Posh Pop standing alone because at least 6 of the tracks on it are amazing singles. Get in your car and drive with King Crimson, I think will end up on Kneeling at the Shrine as a bonus track. But this is one of the gifts that Bill Rieflin left for me, along with a recording of Schizoid Man, which he did in the last year of his life. And it was a very beautiful thing that he did. He sewed up all loose ends and he made these gifts for people, these creative last gifts. And we now live with Frankie's work, his wife's work, and we absolutely adore it. It enriches our lives every day to see her work, and I wanted to point that out because I talk about Bill all the time, but Frankie is forever with us. So, I think this is meant to say Sue, but it's spelt so. Sue Toombs, you say that I had a warehouse. The warehouse was called Mayhem. Steve Strange used to hold 4-day-long parties there at the end of the 70s. Any stories? I remember Steve Strange as being a great client for Mayhem, the warehouse. He would regularly book it for these enormous parties that would attract hundreds of people. Looking back, it just could not have been safe at all. And they would all gather in the glitterati of London, would gather in this warehouse that I lived in with a few other people. And these parties were just amazing. The people there were incredible. Do I have any stories about Steve Strange? He was lovely. He was really sweet. He was incredibly popular. He was driven, but I have no gossip. But what I do have is Iggy Pop rehearsed for his tour in this warehouse when he was doing The Passenger and Lust for Life and all of that. And this was his touring practice guitar. Iggy, again, absolutely gorgeous man, worked incredibly hard. John Cale was producing the album. They would turn up, they would work their hours, go home. We would often go and meet them later for a meal around a big table in his private flat in Kensington. He was just absolutely gorgeous. Do you know, in the whole of my career, I've not known many people that have not been great. Obviously, there's been some difficult people and there's been some people that have been incredibly unkind, but they've not been the stars. The stars are, I think, 99.99% great. But I'm talking about real stars like Iggy Pop and Bowie and Laurie Anderson, Patti Smith. I mean, I don't know them well, but when I met them, they were gracious and beautiful and gorgeous. Michael Stipe. But Iggy left this behind. And it's not an expensive guitar, and I now am good enough on the guitar that I can have all the name of the notes removed off the frets. So I'm about to have that restrung and reconditioned, but that was Iggy's guitar, and I absolutely love it. And Steve Strange, Sue, you ask, any stories? He just taught me to have a lust for life, like Iggy. He just lived his life to the full. And here's our next track for you. This is off in the court of the Crimson Queen. This is a video shot by Dean Stockings, makeup by Sean Chapman. This was shot about 2008, and this is Heal Ourselves. Enjoy. That was Heal Ourselves off the album In the Court of the Crimson Queen. I have quite a few questions here from you, and I'm just going to run through them relatively quickly. Brian McNeil, any thoughts on when you met Viv Stanshall on Friday night, Saturday morning? I remember Viv in rehearsals being fabulous. He was absolutely crazy and very entertaining. And this is a program that Friday night, Saturday morning, I was guesting on one show as guest presenter. And I'd done a lot of presenting before. I had a show called Look Here on Midlands TV. But this was a live show, and my band, the Toyah band with Joel Bogan, we were doing 2 songs on it. It was a long day. We started in the studio at 10 in the morning and we weren't going live till 10 in the evening. So there were about 3 rehearsals. There was a band rehearsal, there was a complete run through of the show, then there was a break, quite a long break, and then we did the actual show. And this is about 1979, 1980. I remember that the run through was lively, it was fun. We had Steve Strange, I think Neil Innes, Viv Stanshall, I think even Derek Jarman was on, and everyone was in great form. It was gorgeous. But then we had this very long break, which I think affected the energy of the show. We probably shouldn't have started our day till about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. By the time we came to do the show live, I think it went reasonably well. Everything back then, because of the legality of language, had to run to a script. You couldn't really improvise back then if you were going live in case someone swore or said something controversial. And remember, this was BBC Two. So everything went to script. I think it was subdued. I definitely was very tired and there was nerves, but I was in the hands of my friends. Steve Strange, a friend. Derek Jarman, a friend. I even knew Neil Innes. Viv, on the other hand, when we got to the live show, was very, very subdued. And what I don't know is what went on between the actual rehearsal in the afternoon and the going live. Something could have upset him, someone could have said something, I don't know, but it was not an easy interview, and I was doing my best to enthuse, but he wasn't engaging. And this happens on TV. You see it a lot with live TV, where presenters are really challenged by a guest, and I certainly was. But I love Viv Stanshall, and I remember the afternoon as being glorious, full of fun, full of anecdotes, lots of stories, but it just didn't translate on the live show. And boy, did the critics enjoy criticising me for it. But that is what live TV is one of those things. Jeff Wally, which is your favourite T-Rex track? This is so easy to answer. Cosmic Dancer. I looked it up when I saw your question, Jeff, and I was so surprised that Nick Cave had covered it. Also, a lot of people have covered this track. I would love to cover it. I saw Mark Bolan sing this live in 1972 at the Birmingham Odeon. I was on the front row. He was no more than 8 feet away from me when he sat on the stage cross-legged. I was trying to get on the stage. I had security people thumping me around the head. And it was one of the most magical experiences of my life, of live music in my life, to be that close to this glorious, charismatic man as he sang Cosmic Dancer. And I've got the lyrics here, and I realise how much this song influenced me with Neon Womb. I was dancing when I was 12. This is the opening line. Well, I was no more than 13 when I saw him. I was dancing right out of the womb. I was dancing when I was 8. I danced myself into the tomb. There is so much influence there in the very first lyric I ever wrote for Sheep Farming in Barnet with Neon Womb. So I'd like to credit Mark Bolan for that influence now. I never realised till I looked at the lyrics again. But that is definitely, Jeff, my favourite T-Rex track. Daryl South, what was your favourite acting role? I believe it's about to happen. It will be Tribute Act, and hopefully we can make this. Of course, we're in our 3rd lockdown, and I need to be in Portugal to make that movie, but the script is gloriously funny, and I can't wait to make that movie. And it might sound a bit flippant to say that my favourite acting role is something that is about to happen. There are definitely past acting roles I have loved in a very special way. Miranda in Derek Jarman's The Tempest, which is a beautiful artistic piece of perfection, and I love the opportunity of being in Shakespeare's Tempest and playing Miranda. I loved playing Thérèse Racan at the Nottingham Playhouse, which was a very way out there production. It was very deep, insightful about the breakdown and the guilt of someone who had committed a murder and how they couldn't live with the weight of having done that. It was phenomenal to play that and to explore the expressive physical and mental breakdown of Thérèse Racan. Also, I absolutely love doing the voices of Brum, and there's a lot of talk about Brum at the moment because it's reissued, the BBC is showing it again, and people are having very fond memories down memory lane. There's children discovering me in it, that I do the voice of it, and that is an absolute joy. I gave a video message over the weekend to a little girl who had to have stitches, and you know, being able to use the voice of Brum as a piece of connection across many generational gaps, because I'm in my 60s, it is divine. It's absolutely lovely. Steve, you ask, knowing that The Hobbit is one of my favourite books, well, I do like The Hobbit, but actually it was Lord of the Rings is one of my favourite books. You say, Steve, that you wonder, did I ever consider trying for a part in Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit? Steve, I am up for everything. Every actor in the world is up for everything that suits them. It isn't a question of going, I like that, I want to be in it. It's just not that easy. You have to be right. The casting process in every production is a science, and casting directors they have so much responsibility. They have to put the right cast together, the right chemistry, the right physicality. All of that, it's the science of measurement, it's the science of charisma, it's the science of personality, and it's the science of talent. So it's not just a question of going, I want to be in that film, therefore you put me in it. It's just not that easy. I would say 40 years ago it was easier, because by being a name, the association was all that you needed to be in something. But I think now the talent of casting is a very proficient science, like cookery science, like the science of modern literature. We have so much available to us through technology and research that people can go deeper and develop things more. And another question that leads to this science, Susan Thornton, you say, would I like to create my 80s videos now that we have the science of technology available to us? Well, yes, of course. But what I would insist, Susan, is even though we have the technology available to us for me to become a computer generated image, is I still would like to be the real human flesh that drives the imagery and drives the performance. So getting back, Susan, to your question, and Steve, your question, all I can do as an actress to remain relevant when there is the casting process is to be completely fit and in tune with my body, to be up to tune with what I'm being asked to do within a casting. And that's when you go along, you meet the directors, the casting directors, they send you scripts that are nothing to do with the project, because projects are now top secret. Know your lines, do as much development of the character as you can. So you go in there into that meeting as a fully formed performer with a formed character, and then you don't wear anything that you think predicts the character. You need to go in as a blank screen, very little makeup, very plain clothes, so that they can see you in what they are projecting as the physicality of that character. It's a science, and you constantly have to ask yourselves questions about it. And thank you for that question, because I've had to do a lot of auditions in lockdown from my green screen room downstairs, and there's no feedback, there's less feedback, and there's no face-to-face interaction. And it's meant that depth you've had to create yourself. And I think that it's helped me create everything that we've been doing online with Sunday Lunch, Agony Aunts, this. It's just made me go that little bit deeper, knowing that the people I'm dealing with are scientists in their own right within the art that they work in. Thank you everybody for your questions. Please keep them coming in and keep them varied. I love talking about past work and present work, but I would like to answer questions that help you with something that you are doing or that you're interested in. You know that question that appeared in the press a lot in the last 20 years of women saying, oh, I have a problem. How would Madonna deal with this? Well, present me with things and let's see if we can find a way of you getting the dream life that you want. I'm not an expert and I'm not qualified, but I'm a little toughie that's been in this industry for 42 years. I'm a great problem solver. And sometimes you just need someone to clarify and say to you, that's not right for you, but why don't you think about this? I have loved answering your questions. Tonight we have Agony Aunts and tomorrow Sunday Lunch. And also I'm still doing the lyric artwork, so if you want a gift for someone, just ask. And if you need a video message to cheer yourself or a friend up, you know how to get hold of me. This is our last number for today. This is Thunder in the Mountains at the Chiswick Studios, recorded in the powerhouse off Chiswick Road, with Mike Nicol on bass and Chris Wong on guitar and myself. Enjoy Thunder in the Mountains and see you soon. Bye from Toyah. This first song is Thunder in the Mountains.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Meet the sea, like spit stains on the scenery. The air is heavy with the sticky unease. I wish for my world on make-believe, and the rebel in my soul says go. And the rebel in my soul says go. Distant cries from alarm and explosion. Just a spark sets the anger in motion, and the rebel in my soul says go. And the rebel in my soul says go.